2016 minutes.
I
All right, I bet everybody does. Any corrections or corrections to that? We have a motion to approve the minutes from July 28, 2016. Jennifer, you were here.
I don't even remember, I couldn't tell you I was here or not.
You were here.
I'm okay, yes, I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
I'll second her motion. Yeah, here we go.
Sorry.
There you go, is that right? We are
No, I was not there at that meeting.
I should tell you
That
that.
was the third one in 4 years. All right. August 25th, I remember that day too, right? It was a Thursday.
Probably is.
Anybody have any corrections or additions to this minute on August 25th?
August has already been approved, September would be your next one that wasn't approved.
Oh, we had July, August, and September.
This is June, September, and October.
I'm just going off of what you're getting.
I didn't remember which one you used.
Okay. I'll sign it. I'll hold it again with it. And fine, later,
Never mind. July ones are still good.
July, okay, September 22nd.
Just turn that off when we get done with the minutes. Then we'll start a meeting.
There's June. All right, jumping around, I just making sure. All right, I'll do the September 22nd. Do I have a motion to accept the September 22nd, 2016? Second,
I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, June 23rd, 2016.
It's still blanket system on approval.
Yeah. All right, do I have a motion to accept those minutes? Second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. For the old business. Treasury report.
Did we do October?
I don't think so.
Everybody had an opportunity to look at the treasury report?
October. We need to approve October's, October 27th.
Sorry, they're right here in front of me. Apparently those brains out here.
Well, the survey.
Okay, so we'll go back to that October 22nd. Do I have a motion to accept those? 27th,
I'll
or
make a motion.
second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And then before I go to the report, do we have any public participation this evening? Okay, I forgot that, did you? Been a while since we've had a meeting. Okay, now treasury report. What is it?
Last meeting.
Yeah. Good enough. All for 11. Okay. Treasury report, anybody got anything, concerns or anything to bring up about the treasury report? Other than balance and trial, the trial balance. It's like the, what everybody does. Okay, do we have anything on that? Moving right along. Director's report.
I don't have a whole lot this evening, just, we've been working on the, dog park, fencing bids. Hope to have a bid advertisement out, within the next month, hopefully next week, as well as the basketball court concrete bid should also be going out. I anticipate those, wrap those up, first of next week. On a sad note, in the last couple of weeks, we lost a former employee, Marion Lloyd. I understand Marion had requested any memorial service monies to be donated to the parks for general maintenance and improvement. Some of the city hall staff members have also been taking up a collection to plant a memorial tree for Marion in McCorkle Park. Marion did a considerable amount of work in the parks during his tenure.
Do we know how much they produced?
I know.
The staff.
Yeah.
I believe Ray was asking each employee $1,000 a head, so I honestly don't know yet how far we've gotten. Well, what would we?
250? Is that the trees are?
Memorial trees are $400. That includes the planting of the tree,
Okay.
purchase of the tree,
Plaque and
mulching, the plaque. Yes.
Do we need to make a motion for this, or do we just get a yes? Or do we say no, because I think we went through this before, and at some remote where we said we weren't doing it, that wasn't an employee, former employee.
There is the potential of, but you did it for this person.
Yeah, we said no before, but there wasn't a former employee either, it was a person or it was something, or something that's like a plaque, a bench or something, somebody was asking for, and we didn't want to open up that can of worms.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only downside. I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of off the top of my head that could be a potential downfall, but it is. Yeah, it was a city employee and we did do a lot. How, if it was to plant a tree, can it be maybe somehow tied into the tree that we've been doing on an annual basis? With the kindergarten class?
Arbor Day trees?
Arbor Day, usually you have a forester or a local company donate a tree. We've had Mountain Nurseries, Bob Porter Tree Service,
I was just
Ron did.
thinking that, maybe,
And they do their own plaque, whether versus memorial.
yeah, I mean, it can still be plaque, just the cost of the tree would somehow be tied into that. That's the only thing that I can't think of any reason not to, other than,
You set a precedent, but I think you can tie a bill to a former employee and go that route. And maybe you can shield it that way.
Plus the memorial funds being set up to stop the parks for Christ's sakes.
oh, I agree. Yeah.
I say we just do it.
As they say, there's a reason that rule books are 12 feet thick.
So we were,
It's the only reason.
Yeah, no, I remember we had this situation going before when we chose not to do it because we didn't want to open that. But I don't think that situation is the same as it was when a former employee,
Drew, can we say that we accepted this because he is a former employee, put it right in the wording?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm gonna do that.
No,
And then we set
I
a
was
specific dollar.
gonna say, it was brought up to have a specific dollar amount. Not to exceed it.
half, we'll cover half. We'll cover half, and whatever the city's short, I'll cover the rest.
200 or the 400?
Is that fair? That way we set up,
I would think that they're gonna play.
I would think, but if not, then we don't have to worry
I
about
would
it.
say that, I know.
You should connect it all to a single hall. Okay,
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Okay, the motion, so,
The motion is to pay up to half of the cost of the memorial tree
For former employee.
for our employee.
My second.
any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay.
That's all I have, but I know Steve has something you
A
want to.
couple things. Got contacted early in the week by a company out of, well, they're based out of St. Joe now. It's called Ability KC. Actually, they sit down with Drew and I Tuesday, I believe. Offered us a summer youth program where they're going to give us anywhere from 3 to 6 high school students going in there into their senior year of high school I said, it's a youth program designed to help children with IEPs. Anybody that's maybe learning disabled to some degree. Anyway, they're gonna, this company hires these kids, interviews them, sends them out to whatever workforce they choose. This year, they really wanted to work with Cameron Parks and Rec, and so far, I mean, I think it's going to be a great thing for us. They're going to provide 3 to 6 kids, and a job coach will go out with them every day. Essentially, will assign duties, tasks, whatever their responsibility is for the day. I'll train them on exactly what we expect, how we expect it done, and then they go out, perform the task with their coach for like from say 8 to noon every day, and then their lunch hour, they'll sit down and have lunch with their job coach, and they'll go over any pros and cons for the day, and that way it kind of gives them some life skills. Some of these kids might not, I mean, they might go into janitorial work, or, it's hard to really say, but I know they said last year they were at Warrensburg Parks and Rec and had really good success there. They completely cover they pay the kids, they have all the workman's comp insurance. Essentially, they're their employees, we just give them jobs to do. So we kind of gave them the okay. They're going to get us, they're in the process of changing their name from Rick, or I can't remember what, to this Ability KC. So they're going to send us a new letterhead and some a little bit more information. I can have that for you guys at the next meeting, just so you guys are just more aware of what's going on. But it's looking pretty good that, yes, they will be giving us some free staff this summer. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. It gives us free staff, and it gives these kids a great opportunity to learn some skills. And so just thought that was a cool thing. Just kind of an update on the ice rink. We put it up right before Christmas, I believe. It set up pretty well this year. We froze up. We haven't had a lot of use. I think Lanny's been counting. We've had about 3 people use it. Then it's melted. And I think what we have is a lot of kids going out there in their tennis shoes and skating around, but not much actual ice skates. But anyway, we're starting to refreeze, so we'll see. I guess we got the rest of the winter. We have a report, I guess.
In regards to that, what's that cost us to put that up, take it out?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, we had, Lanny and I and the entire street department and work release, a good day, good full day, maybe even more to get everything rounded up. I mean, it's just kind of labor intensive now, and it's heavy, like the pond liner's really heavy. And it's just snapping all that stuff together and putting it in place. It was a lot easier now that we have the concrete sidewalk kind of help support it on the outside. So, I mean, it's a lot better than it was 2 years ago when we did it, but it's still just kind of, and honestly, it's probably harder to take it down because you got all that, I mean, you can drain that water out, but you're still going to have a water layer that's extremely heavy. I mean, last year we got lucky enough I recruited some high school kids going over from weights, or to or from weight training, maybe both, just pull it off just to get some of that water off of the pond liner. But I don't know, it is pretty labor intensive, but I mean, I don't know. I just would like to see more usage when we did have it, but it's like one of those things when it's really cold where it's frozen well, people don't want to go outside, and then when it's, now when it's warmer, they don't really, the pond's water. So anyhow, had a kind of a complaint about mulching leaves in Corporal Park, brought up at the last city council meeting. Just want everybody to know, we went down, I believe, Monday of this week, mulch leaves again. We'll do I mean, usually we try to do a pretty good job of keeping leaves mulched, but this time of year, we might get snow, we might get rain, might be frozen. We can't always get in the park, it might be too soft. So just so you guys know, we are trying to keep up on things like that to keep 3rd Street and 4th Street and everything clear of leaves and whatever. The school wagon cages, still in construction. I don't know if you guys have been out there, but they're waiting to frame up, like a corral for the chap that's there, kind of, and it's a good thing. It's not, we have a pretty bad washout area, as we had in the past. The last thing I have, and might be covered in old business, I don't know, the school district contract, I didn't know where we were on that.
I talked to Corey about that earlier this week. He's gonna address it tonight, and obviously he's gonna be here. He has not met with Dr. Robinson yet. He's working on that, and he said he was gonna have to report back. He hadn't done it yet, and he was gonna try to get with our tuning committee. Like he said, he was gonna try to get with Terry and, finalize whatever they were gonna discuss, so.
I just know, March will be out there, and, I mean, we have one more meeting before I'd kind of like to have at least
Yeah,
something.
he was aware, he brought it up to me, but, just to let me know what was going on, so I think it's not on my end.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Anything else on the director report? Any questions for Drew or Steve? If not, we'll move on to new business, the park master planning agreement.
Yeah, this is a project we started a couple years ago. We redirected Curio to work on a ball field layout design for the tax initiative at the time. After completion of the ball fields, we decided to put everything going on with the project on hold till a later date. This past year, our capital budget was something that the park board decided they still wanted to move forward with, pursue. And with us tonight, we do have Steve and Larry with Curio. You also have a proposal from Curio in your packets for their work. And I don't know if Steve and you guys like to get up here and do yourself again. Everybody, this park board member was here.
I don't know.
Last time.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm Steve Rhodes.
Thanks, Steve.
We're with our office. I've been talking with Drew at the end with you all to see how it's going, and we submitted a proposal. It has sort of a list of different items and then the cost associated with those items. Larry helped me put it together, but the first one is the $53 community survey. This is a survey, what we call a sampling of, it's a paper survey that is mailed out with follow-up phone calls. And they want to get a certain number of those back. And it helps you all determine what the citizens have said that they want, the direction of their parks within the community, which sort of gives you a guide, something to reference when you're doing things, doing improvements in the park, directing money or staff time to go do things. Here's an example that we're currently working on in KCK. They have a park system that's really been sort of just patched together for a long time. And so there's been a comprehensive study. And you'll see some markups on there. This is our sort of office markup copy. To really ask the citizens what they want. Helps sort of provide them with the direction. And that was, you're handing out,
An example of a survey.
okay, and this is sort of example of the survey, and then we also have a inventory assessment listed. That is for us to go and visit each of your parks and give sort of our opinion of what we see in your parks, and in your parks. From that, we sort of give a rating. And then the rating is for you all to decide what level of service you want to set for your community. So if, one of your parks, if Recreation Park is your model park, that plan was adopted, October in Parkville. We also have some examples, if you're interested, on things that we've done across other communities, if you have questions. But all of this sort of folds into a comprehensive master plan. It's sort of a guide for staff. We're going to work with staff and you all to really make sure it works for you. And we'll listen to your community and pull that input in. So you guys will sort of have a plan document. I think the last look at you had at Parks was the 08 or 09 community master plan. And so it's really sort of a relook at that. It's sort of a different time. We have different priorities now for our community. I think back then, people never heard of the pickleball court. Now people are converting tennis courts to pickleball to capture the senior population that's interested in activities like that. I don't know if you had that request. But
The Y currently is doing that.
The Y.
Just started one in Orly, last month, yeah.
So, that's a big thing, that's a trend that will bring up a sort of match to demographics. We also listed an optional service on there to do sort of a sketch of a concept park if you're interested in that. But that would certainly be up to you. Some of the things that we have done, our public input in Parkville. We have a board there that is a similar exercise that we did with you all before. And this was, related to what people would like to see. This board we had at a public meeting. We've got an example here that I'll show you later where we actually just left this board behind the community and let people come in. And we have a display board out front that people could come in to City Hall and give their input as to what they want to see in their park. That helps sort of give us a guide of what we need to do. You've got a large city reservoir that's up there, just north of town. This is an adventure park that is in Johnson County, but there's opportunities for camping, outdoor education, and things like that that we're programming at a very conceptual level. And then they have a Great American Camp Out event at that park, and so we asked the community to tell us what they wanted to do. Quick photo, this is just a display board, what those people said that they wanted to see at that facility. And then we also did, for the city of Hutchinson County, we did a couple neighborhood parks that's in a Spanish part of the city. And so we had everything was translated into Spanish for them to understand. We left it at the Boys and Girls Club so that they had everything in the community. We did the same sort of dot exercise. And they were actually, the rec commission out there was going to partner with VFW Hall that had a tract of land that was unused, that there was a former side of the ball field. And they took the fence down because they wanted to play baseball there. And they wanted to turn it into soccer. So we sort of laid it out how they could go all the way down to the bitty soccer, all the way up to a regulation field. And then sort of introduce some new play equipment. And this is a very, very small park here that they had some vacant housing on, and they tore down a house, and we sort of worked with them on what the park could be. It's a master plan for them. It sort of paints a picture of the direction they could go, small projects that they could do in-house, sort of work the plan, gives you all direction and a point of reference on what the community said and where you want to head. So, Larry, did you have anything else? And then we also recently went through this with the City of Liberty
We could put this out. Was that something that you guys provide, you build the site and monitor that, or is it something that we would have to house via, like our city website?
We would put it out there. We did a very similar activity on the Liberty, as we actually started with a more bubble diagram type of thing of what you want to see in the parks. And we put that out there as a website address that the city could post on the website or Facebook page. And the community could go and comment there.
Well, what's your, Richard's question, what's kind of your response on doing it online? Is it better, is it worse, is it more accurate?
Depending on
I mean,
the community, the age of the community.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, you're gonna get the survey returns from, older population. The younger population is gonna go directly to the web and give their input there. And so we encourage communities to try and get as many different input opportunities from the online to the mail out to the public input. And then we'll bring that and present it to you all, and, then we can really decide what is it we're actually hearing. So, the other thing is the events. The park board actually was active at a community event and managed at the event to really solicit interest, so they got to hear it themselves, and, they remember it, they see their neighbors and what their neighbors want to, see, so it was a good activity.
we get that every day.
Okay, I bet.
You could have the plan, like for Liberty there, you give a cost estimate total and.
We do. One thing that we give you a cost estimate as if you were to bid it out. If you were to build it in-house, you can bring those numbers down, and Drew's very good at that. And so we give you a cost estimate, our opinion on what it would cost if you had plans ready and you bid that out, and a construction company came in and did that work. And I always have to sit down with staff before I give it to them and say, we've got to tell you, if you bid this out, this is what it's going to cost. We do realize you can do it in-house a lot cheaper. So, there's sort of a range of costs. You guys can work magic and bring things down, build it to your standards.
But, I think we also got to keep in mind that we started this project because the city had asked us for us to do our master plan. We put off for way too long.
Many years.
Yeah. Mike O'Donnell hasn't come the last while, but he was here every meeting asking us what we were going to do, and that's when we figured to do it. Unfortunately, that was when the ballpark, the pool, all that stuff was going on with the vote, and we ended up kind of steering these guys a different direction, which was unfortunate, but we didn't stick to getting that done at the time, this at the time, so. Yeah, I still think it's necessary, I still think it's something we need to do.
We have to.
And have it in the books and in the files for
$22,000 budget was our estimate. Their base is $24,400. It's a little bit higher than we budgeted. But again, with the bulk of this is the statistically valid survey. I've done a few others, for a few other projects, through the departments in the city. I think this is a really reasonable and good price for the survey, as well as for the total package. Staff, we recommend approval.
You recommend also, I mean, even about the optional part too, you think?
I asked Bureau to include that, kind of follows up on our next agenda item. If we do move forward, do we, with additional park ground, we want to take a look at the results of our surveys and their findings? Do we want to take a look at having them lay out a park? What would be the ideal acreage needed, and what would be the components needed, and maybe even the location? Not again drill down specific, but more of like a big bow, like northeast, south, or west, and like, correct on that?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Basically taking in the needs of the city.
I'm sorry.
Basically taking in the needs of the city.
Where your growth is happening, where you anticipate growth happening, where your current parks are, what areas of the community are underserved. And it gives you, a little bit more, you'll get a map that shows all your existing parks and their service radiuses, what's in them, and it's obvious to see where the holes are.
And you'll really focus on some of the current parts that need help.
Correct. And, we might tell you things you don't want to hear.
We think that's probably most of
Or
It's also a good idea.
you might say,
Sometimes you
it's
blind.
great, don't touch it. It's great. So,
Steve, if we get a couple months down, is that something that we could look at doing the option at that time?
exactly.
And I feel that's the way I read it actually was if once we figure out our funding and our other projects, that's something we could add on to as a separate deal. I just don't want to lose focus from that. Last time we went off the rails. From where we started, we were gonna do this, and we went off the rails and we took you guys on a wild goose
There was
chase.
that tractor trailer.
Yeah, there you go.
There was a trailer, not a trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, and so,
Yeah, load that.
yeah, so I just like when it's,
Yeah.
I say we do this, and then if those come along, hopefully they do, here this year that we need to discuss the next one, and we always have kind of need to do that for us, let's tie in with our master plan.
And a motion to
I make a motion to
go
go,
for.
yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Great. Look forward to.
Thank you.
Starting.
Give me a survey, I mean, I don't know. I said, go work and give me, I don't know everyone else.
Okay.
Okay. Move on to gold business. I'm gonna switch the two bullet points around. I think the second one's gonna take a little bit less time than the follow. Is everybody okay with that? Sure. I was gonna do the Park Valley restroom first. All right, okay. Look at this right here, we've gotten two proposals.
Well, actually, if I could, I'd like to jump in.
Over that,
Just, kind of where we're at today, we look at remodeling our current facility, including the concession stand. WSKF Architects is working on that for us. We had one bid came in extremely high compared to what our budget number was. We decided to go back and look at building new restrooms. Last week, we talked about trying to build the most economical restroom we could to get facilities out there. We kind of figured out the skill building. Visited with a few different engineers and architectural firms. The consensus from all was that skill building really building. And actually, Larry was generous enough to also share some information. I think their consensus was the same as ours and some of the other architectural firms, which was to look at the prefab, precast modular type buildings. I've thrown a lot of buildings out here with a lot of different numbers on this sheet, a lot of different costs. The big difference is you're looking at stick buildings. We have to do the site prep and the framing, the plumbing, everything. So we're gonna have a longer time frame to do this. If we go with the precast or pre-modular buildings, like the public restroom supply company, they estimate that they have their units within 3 to 5 months on site. Once on site, it takes it 3 to 5 days. It's a complete turnkey. There's a couple different styles, like the Montrose style. You have to pour the footings, do the ground rough, and pour the concrete slab, and the building sits on top of it. So again, additional time, not much savings. We are recommending, and I have got, there's a lot of different options. It's actually all the models they offer. These are the smaller versions. These have 2 units. There's 2 different packets there. One is where there's like 4 different facilities versus 2. So if we look on the front page of one, you notice right here, it has 2 units, there's only 2 water closets and 2 lavatories. The first sheets that went around, I believe, is in that hand right there. And if you're looking at this one, there's 3 water closets, 2 for women, 1 for men, a urinal for men, and 2 lavatories. So they're stapled together by the different sizes there. Well, you have 3 water closets. If you look at the men's toilet, so there's actually 4. One recreation park was around 100,000. But they're just different options, still again, just different units, smaller units. As you can see, there's a lot of different styles, a lot of different variations. Copied off all of the ones that this company, the public restroom company, has on hand. They have another one too that they built. Price surprisingly wasn't that good. It only had 2 water closets and 2 lavatories with mechanical. The price really wasn't that much lower. It is built, so it's ready to go now. I would not recommend that one. I don't think that one suits our needs the best. The square foot price isn't the best. But of all of the different options we have, stick built, whole barn, modular, precast, we're recommending this company, Public Restroom Supply, because it does have the floor. All we have to do is bring water, sewer, and electricity within the building. They say once they're on site, again, 3 to 5 days, they do the stabilization. They bring and hook up the water, sewer, the electricity, and it's good to go. Steve and I visited about this. We're recommending that we go with this prefab type units, install it north of the existing facility, because again, these are just restrooms only. So you can see the cost of, I'm sorry.
I said which way is.
I said words.
For elementary school.
Yes. And as you know from our last bid too, and even building ones like somebody asked about, like footings.
Yeah.
I mean, so there was a lot of savings with having and utilizing city staff. City staff also, Mary Ann Lloyd built with the work release inmates, built the restroom concession stand facility at the soccer complex. But back then, we were getting a lot more work release crews too. Today, we're only running one inmate, which is hard to keep up, but. Coming back around, another unit I do like, this public restroom supplies, that since it does have a floor, utilities are stubbed out of the building. If in the future we decided to do something different or a different configuration with Park Valley, you could literally, yes. We have the cost of somebody with, a large crane or record and, a little bit of site prep and utilities, but the bulk of the expense would be there. Or if we decided to move it even on that property. And I started to say, and I sidetracked myself, I apologize, leaving the current concession stands, because as you guys are aware, it's extremely expensive to build the restroom facilities. And adding the concessions, the square footage of concessions and the utilities and concessions just drives up our cost exponentially. So our thought is leave the concession stands as is at Park Valley, take the current restrooms out, turn them into storage, leave the storage. As you guys have heard, the YMCA is always begging for storage, school districts begging for storage. So that kind of solves the need too of the storage needs out there at that facility. So if this is the style that Park Board wants to go with, there's a couple different options. One option that I thought, the first packet that's handed out is the second page there. That's the SP-044 is the one in the packet. Don't have a price on this one yet. I will also say another advantage of this public restroom supply company is that they are participating members of the local co-op purchase, the NJPE, which we've utilized on a couple different projects in the past. I think our most recent was the tennis courts, the resurfacing of the tennis courts, I believe. But basically what that is the local cooperative purchase where they have already gone out and written all the bid specs. They've already done the advertising, the bidding, and so we're able to utilize their bid process. You have to be a member of it, which we are. We've utilized it before. So the board were to decide on the exact model they wanted. I would have to go to the NJPE and see exactly what the bid specs are. But in theory, we could order tomorrow, they could start production, 3 to 5 months could be here, 3 to 5 days, it could be on site and up and running.
But we don't know the cost of that particular one.
No, I wasn't really sure if this was something that the board was interested in at the end, or if they wanted to keep, for the audience. If you guys want to take a look at it and pass them on back. Traditional men versus women with the 2 water closets, or this one I was hoping might be a little bit cheaper unit because there is only 3 water closets and 3 lavatories to it. It still does, or maybe that one has 4. There's one that has, that one has 4. There's one that has a 3 unit as well.
But with one of the 4 is 88. I mean, one of the 4 is big enough.
There are just
So you
6
just have to do that on 2 separate ones and then losing some space.
There's
Not
non-space facilities.
Also takes care of the issue of, as, we talked about before, there seems to always be a longer line at the women's, or there's the men's, might have unisex all the way across. You would help eliminate that.
still use it as a concession stand, have additional storage, and if we decide at a later date that we want to do something with that concession stand or whatever, then we could, but at least this would take care of our restroom issues. We have ADA restrooms, more restrooms, and it still leaves our concession stand where it is now, which is kind of a plus.
But it wouldn't like change the.
It wouldn't
It
change
wouldn't make
anything inside of
of
it.
it at all.
No.
It would look exactly the same. The only thing it could change is you could use two current little 5x5 restrooms as storage.
And if that's something that, I mean, that might be something we could do in-house as far as maybe removing some walls and.
That's what I was gonna ask, can you remove, like,
Yeah, we-
between the concession stand and the women's
We
bathroom?
could.
can you
Yeah, we
remove
could
that
definitely.
wall and make it, just wipe the concession out, 'cause the storage in the back is like where you have the coolers and stuff, where you move all that out to the.
Right, well, and some of that stuff we could do in-house without a whole lot of, I mean, we're pretty good at tearing stuff up, so knock down some walls and. Yeah, I think that's
Additionally, we put it back together.
We could definitely explore that.
We can look at it. I just
Another
think,
thing is too, is restroom, operational restroom,
Which was another issue that we
I don't
struggled
see
with,
it.
in trying to find that really narrow window.
yeah.
I love the fact that we pick up and move it if need be in the future.
Well, that's a win for me, because one of my biggest concerns is putting a lot of money into that, and eventually, a couple of years from now,
Yeah.
guess what, we're not using it.
I agree.
Well, when Steve comes back and tells us we don't need it.
well, it gives us ADA restrooms right now. I mean, it's still, we still have a decent sized concession stand. We have more storage. The high school wants to store their stuff in there. It's all opened up. It's ready for storage right now. I mean, and we could knock down the restrooms, give it a bigger concession stand area. I mean, no brainer in my mind.
Let's get a bid.
I have a motion to instruct her to go ahead and get a bid to start the process on it.
Yes. I'll make a motion. I mean, get the bid, like, let's, do we have to wait till the next meeting, like, if you say the bid's good tomorrow, you can go and start building? We don't have to wait and drag it out another month to say.
We could, what, I guess I'd like to do is, because again, when you're looking at the, on the first page here, that unit is a pretty pricey unit. Our budget, I think, was, $85,000, $89,000. That's where, again, I was, thought that the 3-unit unisex has a smaller footprint, less square feet, less fixtures, might be a cheaper cost. So we could nail down and maybe email out both of those to the board there, like a.
Part of the problem, I mean, the facilities are not in good shape, but part of the problem is lack of facilities.
I was gonna say, the.
I say we price it for and see what it is.
This 4-unit on front's $170,000. It's the very bottom line on the,
How much?
I'm talking about the one you,
That's what it was.
the one you directed us to, the SP, that one.
The
The SP
SP
0440.
unisex.
Yeah, but that's
That's what I think we ought to price that one.
Okay.
And I think so.
That's what I thought, but
That's what,
also SP 044.
yeah.
We've got it,
I think you gotta get back to the real someone else.
Yeah, that's
We
what
got
I
a real
was,
surprise last time.
that's what I was thinking. We just instruct her to go ahead and price the
Yeah.
unit and
Yeah.
decide on, like, if it comes in like the last time, never
When you
mind.
do that.
Everybody good with that?
What was that?
You might second
Well, she and I competed for the program, but then we went back into something else, so I guess, yes.
We're instructing
Yes.
Drew, we're instructing Drew to bid on the model SP 044. Do we have a first and a second discussion? The motion is that instruct Drew to get a price on the SP 044.
I'll make that motion.
Got it, second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any
smart board again, and, we've got the official ADA compliance complaint, received notification from Department of Justice.
Just recently again.
No, just reminding forward that we do,
Okay.
and we do have to do something at our aquatic facility. Just putting it off is not an option. So
And I, to be honest with you, just people in the public, I don't think understand. But I know we brought it up in every single meeting. So, just.
Can we put that in the paper?
I'm just gonna reiterate what Drew just said, we have to do something.
we have to do something. I believe the plan Mark gave us to, remodel the bathhouse was a very large, right? Ever since, I don't know, committed $200,000 for the bathhouse. But it was high, so we do need to do something at our aquatic facility. The boards discussed at work sessions on what type of funding avenue we would like to look at. I did put in your memo that the city manager sent an email out between this meeting and our last meeting, informing the board of the economic development sales tax for ball fields at the aquatic facility was still an option. Some of the concerns that we heard expressed before was the economic development portion of the tax. City manager said that to address this, because the minimum of 20% of the tax revenues from economic development sales tax must be directly related to some type of economic development. So, to kind of help answer this concern, the thought was that use the 20% economic development sales tax could be used to pave Griffin Road, which runs between Grand and Everton. That's another large complaint need along the city. So, that's the new news that I have.
Well, I think what everyone has a problem with is a lack of transparency. If you're saying, if they're willing to say, okay, the 20% will be used for the pavement of Bob Griffin Road between this and this, that solves the transparency issue altogether. I mean, honestly, we would have a better shot knowing a specific project, publicizing that specific project, and staying the course. As long as that is, if we go forward with the economic development, anything, and then they have to stick to that, I think there would be a good chance that would succeed, because the lack of transparency is always the issue.
We do this at the last meeting, what we wanted to do is we wanted to have minutes from the work session. And so, I guess if you want to talk transparency, we discussed all the options that were discussed in that work session. We were gonna go down and say, this isn't gonna work, this isn't gonna work. Then we're gonna be left with what was left of that work session, on what could possibly work. And if anybody had any other ideas since then, then we'll put those on the table, and then whatever the options are, then we'll discuss the avenues or options based on those. So in other words, hotel tax, we know that that's not an option. So we take it off the table right away, we're not gonna discuss it. Grants, we already know that we're not gonna obtain enough grants to do that. Special tax district was brought up. What was discussed under that is not an option. Funding, borrowing from the
Wait
city.
a minute, what special task, the rec district?
This was,
NIDs, TDDs,
Okay,
Oh,
so it's not the rec, okay.
right,
Okay.
right, didn't pertain to the,
Okay.
borrowing from the city council, we know that's.
Gone.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
That happened. Well, there.
That's also gone.
No, they're gonna use the rest of it, all that.
I was gonna donate, but my Powerball numbers did not hit last night, and I don't know why. Thought I rigged it, but it didn't happen. So that's, and then also, the remaining 8-cent sales tax, there's a Park and Recs tax that's available, and then also a sewer tax. I'm sorry, that falls into the same thing. Park, capital improvement, I'm sorry, there's capital improvement.
Parks and or stormwater.
Correct. So there's two 1/8 cents
Capital.
that way.
In our minds was an option, but I think we were pretty well told at that meeting that that was not an option, weren't we?
Yes. Pretty much.
I think that's.
They said they're ready to raise it.
the rec
Yes.
district, right?
Absolutely.
And Drew and can probably explain a little bit, you guys might have done some research on it, I haven't, I just know what I've discussed with Drew on that. We know, as far as the economic development tax, we know what that is already going to entail. So we know that if we were to go for that, then we know that 20% has to go for specific economic development, which we found out that, for example, Robert Road would be a possibility that that would be a specific amount.
Drew, is it upfront, it has to be specific to 20%, or can the economic development hold it back and then do it later?
Depends on how the ballot language is written. We have a cost and an engineer's estimate to pave Griffin Road. I think the city manager wrote Bob Griffin. Bob Griffin's actually the portion that's paved north of Grand
Okay.
to 36. Griffin's the gravel portion. So you could write the ballot language specifically that the economic development portion, 20%, would be for the infrastructure improvements from here to here. Then that would be it.
And the thing that Bruce's point, which I would agree with that, is that then it's transparent. This is what, if the ballot language was specifically say, this, we got A, B, and C, ball field, pool.
Is it up to 20%, so what if there's excess between what it costs to do that and the actual 20%?
There wouldn't be. It's $3.5 million.
That answered me that.
And it would, we would have to go ahead.
But again, we, with costs like anything, we always try to, budget our costs higher, so I'd say 3 to 3.5.
The only reason I asked was then, if we look into ball fields that I don't see anywhere in town we can build them, but somewhere else, if it would include a road to that, or if you had to make any type of roads to get to.
You could, infrastructure
Said
improvements
future
would be,
improvements.
could be included, because we'd have to run different types of infrastructure, gas, electric, water, sewer, storm sewer, parking, access,
So it could be added into that 20%.
or it could be part of the.
Or part of
Ball fields.
Right. For instance, we discussed the land that the city owns up by Walmart.
Right.
Some of those things are already there, so we know we wouldn't have costs. Thought we're gonna have cost of moving dirt, things like that. I mean, there's gonna be costs associated with that land, so that's gonna be part of the cost of ball fields. And you could put a, an estimate on the high side. But then what that also does is then if you put a sunset, which we discussed, putting a sunset, that then you would say, if we need it for 15 years,
Right.
maybe we need it for 12, but we're thinking, okay, we're gonna at least put the sunset on at 15. So, but yeah, I mean, so everything would be in black and white in the ballot language. So then there's no this, what happened last time was, well, they're just gonna go do this, or they're just gonna go do that.
Or they
Or the city's gonna do this, or there won't, and to be honest with you, I didn't even mention it, the only part of that whole economic development tax that I really had trouble with was forming another 5-person board. They're basically gonna have nothing to do. Other than say, oh, that money's there for that project, which was voted on for X amount,
Right,
gotta do it, they can't change anything.
right.
So by using this, that's what we would have to do on that.
But to start this, we would not have to involve another board.
Another board would be formed.
Not the-
tax.
Correct, but not before we go to pass this.
Correct, it would just
Just
have
on
to
us.
be council approval. If you did that. If we did that.
You don't have to go to EDOC and get their input.
You don't have to be involved at all.
No, that's what I was, just,
It's called, but it has to be, it's called an economic development tax. But they're not involved at all.
So it's a 1/2 cent, correct?
Correct.
And that's up to 20% is used for economic development.
No, minimum 20% has to be used.
And it's
But that would, the 3.5 million would probably follow in that, the math earlier, that would probably.
The rec district tax is also a 1/2 cent.
up to, both are up to.
About
Up like, let's say we want to do the school district. And within that, we are 4 counties. However, we can choose Clinton, DeKalb, because Davies doesn't, it has like, literally a handful of people.
Yeah.
So I don't think we would want to involve Davies. Caldwell, I think we'll want to involve them now in light of the land purchase,
And the future, assuming it goes to
Future
future
expansion of that
annexation of.
direction. So we could do Clinton, DeKalb, and Caldwell. We would have to get the approval from each commissioner,
One commissioner from each county plus 50 signatures.
plus a petition with 50 signatures. And then we can create a rec district.
Which would still have to have a board.
It would still have a
Separate
board just
So
like
that
the
board would just
thing,
need recs.
the rec only. And then the
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
then the people within that district we create get to vote on it.
So it takes all the people from outside the city
We're
limits.
pulling the people from outside city limits that didn't get to vote on the EDOC, will now get to vote on this tax.
But if we say, okay, we're gonna include Caldwell County, it wouldn't be a Caldwell County vote, it would be people who live within the school district of Cameron in Caldwell County would get the vote.
Would it fall with the school district lines if that's?
We can set that as, from what I understand, the attorney, we could say, he said, you can say it's all the counties. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do that, because people who live over in Hamilton and over that wouldn't care about this.
If you get on and read the statute in Missouri, the website, state of Missouri, it basically says we can set it however we kind of want to do it. But based on what the Y did last time, they followed the school district line, assuming those children would be the ones who would be taking advantage of it more than others in the county.
So I'm gonna ask this question because Drew and I talked about this a little bit. The we part of it is not us.
No, same as if we do the other one, and there's a separate board.
Yeah.
Right, but the starting the petition can't be we, it's them, which are the patrons of that county.
I believe that's what Jennifer said, I believe it's 100.
I mean,
It's at 50 on the thread, but it changed.
I don't think the thing I have actually says.
How do you get started? You go out and solicit 50 people?
You go out and talk to the county commissioner, see if you can get this support. Does the county commissioner say no, then we're done.
I'm trying to, so the county commission, the county would form the board. You would pick a particular county, say you outlined it as a Cameron School District, right? But you would probably want to pick one county
After the
to
election.
utilize, you would want 3 counties utilizing this, or overseeing it.
Yeah, each
I
county.
think each county has to
Have
have
a
a
representative.
representative.
It says, after the election, the governing body of the county shall appoint.
It says a county,
Of
The
the
governing
county.
body of the county.
we have 3.
Right.
Appoint a board of directors consisting of 7 persons chosen from the residents of the district, the rec district that we create. The directors shall hold office for 3-year terms, except those first appointed, of which 2 shall hold office for 1 year, 2 for 2 years, and 3 for 3 years. Upon the expiration of the initial terms, the vacancies are filled by election for terms of 3 years.
I want to know what you're thinking there, because you don't start.
I think these are great ideas, however, I believe it's not all the counties, it's going to be county with the largest population, if it's a multi-county recreation district. So in our case, it would be Clinton County.
Okay.
I also believe Clinton County then would be the repository treasurer, just like the city of Cameron is for the parks, sales tax, and
Right.
revenue. So it would be your Clinton County commissioners who would.
So your understanding is we don't have to talk to the other county commissioners when we.
I don't think we as the board can.
No, but I'm saying that.
I think it takes 100.
It's not a multiple commissioner, not all commissioners have to agree, just Clinton County for our
Ours are
sake.
your 3 Clinton County commissioners who would appoint
Right.
your recreation board.
Right.
They would meet at Clinton County. Clinton
Gotcha.
County would
Okay.
be your treasurer.
Yeah. Okay. I misunderstood that when I read it, so.
That's the way I understand it, but again, we would be
Okay.
definitely.
And maybe Drew can answer this, but the sales, the economic development sales tax would be, we would have travelers coming through who are shopping and purchasing goods or whatever, bringing money in to supply this. Wouldn't this tax be a property tax?
No, sales tax.
Great question. Yeah, no, they're both sales tax.
They're both sales.
Yeah, they're both sales
Okay.
tax.
It could be set up either way, but I think the way we would want to approach it would be
Sales
the
tax.
sales
Okay,
tax.
that's what I was wondering.
I mean, I haven't thought of this or looked into any of this, but the simple question that popped in my head, just talking to Jared and sitting here right now is, okay, say the county commissioners say, okay, they appoint a 7-member board that they oversee what we want, what we perceive that we want.
It won't be a meeting. Like.
No, that's what I'm saying.
We don't exist and then.
Well, I guess that's the part I'm having trouble with.
I think we need answers, we need the attorney or somebody, because we just don't have enough answers yet from the
Well,
information I got.
Steve,
When the Ohio State was doing their,
I
development
don't,
regulations, yes,
I
it's
consider,
the
I
same thing.
He
was
clearly
gonna-
has information, because he's shaking his head.
I don't know if you don't mind getting involved in this discussion.
It's fine, I can just speak about experiences I've had with city, park boards, and rec commission relations. And they've all been in Kansas where there's a lot of rec commissions that are attached to a certain boundary. Often it's a school district. They're often in more rural communities where there is a need for recreation. So in terms of, we're getting ready to embark on a park master plan and what the park's needs are. The rec commission needs are a little bit different. They come in and do the leagues, and they tend to have the larger boundary. There's a larger catchment of the sales tax revenue. They have a larger budget. And then it's sort of the same thing you're dealing with now, where the community as a whole, whether it be the Y or the school district, depend upon you as a park board to deliver facilities and resources, but they've got all of the funding. And unless there's a partnership that's set up from the beginning, that there's an equal share, you're going to find yourself, or you could find yourself in that sort of different, same scenario that you are now. So that was from my experience, that it's generally the rec commissions that have the larger resources, and they always depend upon the parks, city resources to take care of the infrastructure. And it's gaining you programming and recreation, it's not gaining you facilities.
Sure.
Just to follow up on that though, if we were to write the ballot language again, specific on the tax to pass, then that would outline, I guess, if tax sunset, or if we had a long enough plan, that would outline and kind of, I guess, curtail some of that other stuff, because it would be directed.
You can write the ballot language, and I would recommend you tie everybody together at that point.
Like if we said we're doing this for pool and for ball fields, they couldn't say,
Which is what the
no,
YMCA.
we're not doing that, we're gonna do it on, they couldn't spend our money, that money somewhere else.
And I believe several years ago that Kearney passed the recreation district, and they had on the ballot the formation of the district. And then the second question was the taxing, the sales tax to fund the district. And one question passed, the formation of the district, and the revenue part did not pass. So they were sitting there, a group of people that got to meet to say, how do we pass this?
They were taking donations for
So you need to put them in the same question.
Yeah.
But to Drew's point on the ballot language, so the YMCA tried to do this. They were the ones who paid for the ballot. It wasn't the county, it was the Y who didn't put it on the ballot. And they met with the commissioners and said, we want to build this building, we need this district, get the district to do it. And got the commissioners on board to say that's what we use the money for, that's what the ballot language will read. And it didn't pass, but.
So we would have, the county would have to, not only, since it wouldn't involve the park board to begin with, the county would have to agree to also incur the cost of putting it on the ballot.
I would assume so, yeah, that's what I.
But did you guys realize the county has also had a sales tax that just went off that
Yeah.
they need to, and so with the half cent sales tax for the road
Whole county.
Whole county, they failed to renew it.
So, I mean, the first thought that crossed my mind is, after just thinking, is that, okay, then we're gonna ask them to support us putting an asset when the county still has to.
Well, I don't think it hurts to ask.
I'm not saying it hurts, I'm just saying that they're gonna be sitting here thinking, well, now we're gonna try, they're gonna be trying to put basically a cent sales tax on the ballot through the county.
Yeah, but you're talking about a voter base that's only gonna encompass.
No, I realize that, but we know how the internet works too,
Well, whether it's them
that
asking,
it'll be misconstrued just like that.
whether it's them
I
asking
don't
for
want you to
2.5 cents or us
put it
asking for
down.
half and a half, it's still gonna be the same group of people we're asking for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
I don't think that matters.
Yeah, to Bill's point, would they do it, would they?
They may not, and they may tell us, let them, make, you know, make
Let us
us
know,
know.
I mean,
Yeah.
We're kinda used to it, so, I mean, let them tell us no, and then we'll move on to something else.
I'd be interested in the interest, I mean, if it's possible to grow.
I heard a lot of comments about the school district, people were getting, commenting on the tax last time, that they couldn't vote. I mean, they had opinions about it, but they couldn't vote
And
because
and
they
also, how
were,
many times did you
they
hear,
chose
if
to
it was
live
just,
outside.
if it was just school and ball fields, we would vote for it. If it was just school and ball fields, we would vote for it. This would be just school and ball fields. And,
In a row to get.
and whatever else we, extra money on top of that
But
to,
also, I understand everything you're saying, I realize that, but also a lot of people were saying they didn't, for some reason, they kept dragging, well, not for some reason, we know why it happened, dragging that EDOC was just going to have their share of the pie and nothing is,
exactly, so take.
nothing's gonna be done
We can
there,
take-
nobody knows what's gonna be
Yeah,
done
we
with
can
it.
take them out of it completely, even better. If we have the
Right.
right tax for.
What we're thinking we'd have to do would be taking that portion, other than the name of the tax, it's taking all of that out of it anyway. And there's a specific thing, it's not,
Yeah, I understand,
Pie
I'm
in
just
the
saying,
sky,
if
everybody's
we can go
saying.
for this, we can have, we as a rec, parks, can have more money for us, and it's more ball field.
Do we have to, is there any money that has to be spent any certain way on this record?
Not that, not that I've seen, no.
Sure,
There are, well, I shouldn't know,
I
obviously,
mean,
there
not
are
like up to 20.
restrictions on what.
Yeah,
Sales tax.
I'm sure you can't go out and build a skate rink and sell it to some, things like that, but
That's,
you
yeah, it's
privatize,
different.
you can't privatize, stuff like that, but.
but we'd have to have a sunset on that also. Because if not, everything just
How do
continue
we
to go
go
to the county.
forward? I mean,
Do we need to speak with the attorney
Steve.
again and get some more information on this, on how we get going, how we potentially handle this from here, or?
If that's the direction of the board, yeah, absolutely, we can take, visit with the attorney, and start the ball rolling on that.
more than that.
Steve, you've been through this with many communities. Do you have any suggestions that we're overlooking?
I think you need to look to your master plan.
What
Yeah,
I agree.
so.
What about, do you see boards like this going to school districts or YMCA's and trying to get a ball field built together where, school districts have opportunities of grants and so forth that we don't?
Anytime that you can work in cooperation or in partnership with another entity, whether it be your public health, your school district, an outside entity, and why, and pool your resources, it's always a wiser use of your fund.
The school's been dropping, $325,000 on their new football field right now?
But the school's also dropping about 10 grand on our ball fields right now, on
They are?
those batting cages.
Oh, okay. But
So
again,
instead of this is ours, and this is ours, and this is ours, I think what he's saying is, how about it's a community, and we can do what's best for everybody, and
that's what I said, if we could get
it's not just about.
join
us.
with them to develop a plan for ball fields and pooling, it would be in our best interest.
Maybe they would have.
We already have a plan.
We do.
I personally don't think that's an option right now, we can't even get to a region of usage agreement, let alone, let's build a new agreement.
We have, I mean, we have a plan for the pool, we have the plans, I mean, we spend time on plans for fields already, which didn't actually involve the school as far as the planning, but the thought was also to have facilities that the school's gonna be able to, that they would better be able to use, that's gonna be better for them also. So the thought is there on our part.
They were here for.
Right, I mean, it's not like we're just, I mean, because if you think about it, from a park standpoint, we really don't need a regular sized baseball field. Because mostly what the Y deals with is the youth, you know, 12 and under, you know, or the 13 and under. You know, when you get to the older kids, it's really, most of those kids are traveling anyway. So building a larger ball field is basically accommodating the school.
And opening us up for
Tournaments or.
Right, I mean, there's other reasons, but
being part of
it's
the.
gonna benefit, the school's gonna benefit from it. So it's not like they're, you know, not being thought of.
Well, you say that, Bill.
Oh, I know, I
I
realize.
understand. You look at some of the communities around here where the schools have built their own fields.
A lot of our size have.
Yeah, and you look at that and you say, well, how did they do it? And a lot of it's grant money. There's
Donors.
that one.
A lot of it's donors. A
Oh,
lot of
yeah,
people are
absolutely.
actually- they're
You're absolutely
giving
right.
people's money, and we give very good ours.
And I think you're right, Ruth, if you went out, people,
Every community.
Old
you look at-
Dragons
you can
will
make
step
it
up and give a
locally,
donation.
Shopee, all of those donations.
yeah,
See,
Would we be better off at this point to go ahead and get the master plan done before we go and really, I know we have to do something with the pool, but if we say, you know, we have a master plan in the works that might give us something to work forward, or work towards, or, and then, you know, how long, what's the timeline on the master plan?
No, 6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months? I mean, what if we wait and let all that information come in and then go from there? I mean, I feel like now without that, we don't, I feel like if we didn't want to create a rec district, then we would have some information from an outside source that would help us out in the long run, or whichever way we wanted to go, I think would be better
I
served.
think it's okay at the same time, Steve, to talk to the attorney, to talk with, probe, like I was saying, do much more research than we've done now, and see what our steps would be once things start happening.
The only fear I have with continuing to wait is the pool's just gonna need more money and more money and more money and more money, and how much money are we willing to sink into it before we say no more money?
well, we still have the Department of Interior, that other thing.
That's what I meant, is that we're gonna have to keep sinking more money, and I didn't mean just for upkeep, I meant for that.
Well, I almost wonder if we couldn't use that as, include that, as our master plan is working towards, I mean, they may come back and say, maybe your city doesn't want a pool anymore, maybe that would be our answer. Maybe the community would say, hey, that's really not that important to us,
That's,
and that would be the answer.
they have it.
that is it.
So,
That's my.
I think maybe we just let
Mhm.
the professionals do what they do, come back with some answers, and then we proceed.
Thank you, Steve.
If we tell the Justice Department that we've got this master plan in progress, will that buy us time? I mean, are we still gonna have to worry about trying to make some ADA changes?
We made a lot of ADA changes last year. I don't know if that, the pool itself is ADA compliant. I mean, as far as,
Actually, I'm gonna just jump in here on this one. We've addressed two concerns, or three concerns that were still out there listed. I can't answer what they would do. We'll do our best to explain as detailed as we can. If that's the path Park Board so chooses.
Well, if we decide, well, we know, okay, so at this point, are we all in agreement, we've got two possible options. The economic, using half cent for the economic development and having three specific items on that, or recreation, half cent recreation district tax, which we need to look further into that as far as having some questions answered. I mean, I still have a few questions. I'm then we are not involved, we're the ones that need the money, you know, for our projects. I just sit there and think to myself, all it takes is 3 people to start, and then 7 later, then say, oh, sorry, we got different things we're gonna do with it.
Yeah, bowling is still bowling, so if we sell over
I
it.
know, I'm
Put it
just,
right in there.
There's no difference between that or you got board.
for me to be skeptical, I can imagine what the skeptics.
Okay, but what's the difference between that and doing the EDOT tax or the EDOT board, who still says at the end of it, we change our mind, we don't want to build a pool, or put a spec building.
Because none of us are technically still on that board.
That's what I'm saying, there's no difference, you're still putting trust into a board, but they're gonna follow the ballot language.
The 5-member board, though, with the EDOT is appointed by the mayor. 3 of the members are appointed by the mayor.
Okay. That's-
So the possibility of one of us being involved in it is a lot greater than, well, I shouldn't say that because we haven't done the research on that 7 members.
Yeah. Unless you want to vote too.
I realize that. On that, I would just want to look into it a little bit more. The other thing I will throw out is that, say this the right way, we know as of now, if we can approach council, the votes could change after April. That all of this, after we have a master plan, and we're not going to be able to do anything with it, so.
I think we, as Steve said.
But I like Steve's idea also.
Me too.
Too, as much as I hate putting that thing off, like,
Right.
that's what we did last time, was, you know, we gave them, told them to do a master plan, and then we interrupted them halfway through and said, we want to do this, you know?
Well, I don't personally want to move forward on the EDOT tax until we know something about the rec tax.
Again, just for clarification, EDOT is Economic Development Cameron, that was a group of people that stepped up to fill the void to be helpful. The sales tax is economic development, sales
Okay,
tax,
that's
which is
right.
independent
Yeah.
board. There would still be an EDOT group, but this would be an economic development.
And that's, it just, we all know that, that's what got wore out.
And that's something still going to be an issue. No matter how we
People
spin
can't
it,
disassociate.
I think it's still going to be an issue. No matter what we say or spin, or it's still going to be an issue.
Unless people want to hear the truth, then they'll come out.
What has happened now is 300 acres and all that stuff, negativity and it'd be a
Well,
really good to be
yes, there was some negativity on that, but I don't think it was the majority of people. I've had a lot of people tell me that was fine. That don't voice their opinion on social media.
well, I'm gonna say it a lot, because we're gonna spend another $500,000 developing that out there. They do it right.
I mean, the thing about social media is it's easy to say negative things on social media instead of telling you to your face.
I have a bad taste.
Or come to
I
the
have a
meeting
bad
or
taste in
something.
my mouth after the work session and how people led it, and then what we feel about. it.
Yes.
That's my problem.
Well, then, let's do this, let's table this one, find out more information about the rec district tax, and then let Curio do their jobs, and then we can proceed from there, and then,
So to be clear, we want Drew to get a hold of the city attorney and try to get more information on how we go forward
How we move forward.
on that, for us to decide if we want to go forward on that.
Yes.
Recreation district.
Yes.
I'm planning now.
Sales tax,
Yes.
Yes.
sales tax,
good question.
No,
Clarification.
and we've already decided that there is gonna move on with the master plan, and, you know, the community comes back 90%, so we don't want to pool, why don't we pool?
well, that just makes sense.
For that.
Okay, everybody good with that then? We'll table that.